Hey everybody, this is Herschel from High School Top 300. Welcome to 2017. What I've decided to do is that I'm going to be making a preseason school ranking where I will do profiles for the top 60 schools in the country in order that I think they are right now in preseason. And so just before the season starts in April, I will put out an official list that will start the rankings from there, and so you'll be able to keep up with it. This is just more of an introduction for the preseason rankings. This is all just off what I think, all the information that I've got back. This is even before all the teams are actually selected, so if they're wrong, it's because none of the teams haven't been selected, and this is just my thoughts. So I thought I would start with the number one team in the country for this preseason that I think, and I actually, they are going to be the number one, or they're most likely going to be the number one team once the season starts, but that is Hastings boys. There's a lot of reasons for me to choose Hastings boys. For example, they have four guys that are returning, or three guys that are returning that two are Barbarians players. One's a New Zealand secondary school player. The others played for the New Zealand, or the Condors team. They have young players coming up that could easily start on other teams around the country. They've got a really good front row. Their loose forward trio is probably one of the best in the country as well as their front row. And so when you sort of start matching that up with all the other teams around the country, they just have a lot more players to rely on. An older team, a team that's, most of them were here, almost the whole team was there at the top four, and they've all returned back. They do have some key losses like Keanu and Jacob, Liam, Xavier Hunter, like those kind of guys, but I think in terms of probably Keanu and Jacob and probably Liam, out of those three, all the key players have actually come back, and that is, and I think as well, is from the 8, 9, and 10 and 15 are the key players, and that's Devin Flanders at number 8, Falau, Fakatava, and also Lincoln McClutchy, who are 9 and 10, and then Danny Tuala, who's at the back. And so for me, with those four just returning in itself will help out any team. I think that's like a team that you could build around and build a consistent team around those players that will sort of guide the team around this year. The important one of Falau and Lincoln, that is, I think, a combination that is far better than anybody else in the country at 9 and 10. So it's hard to sort of create an argument to say that there is one that's even kind of close to that, because I actually think Falau and Lincoln are probably the best in their positions anyway. Even if they would just stand alone, they would be the best anyway. So for that combination, that is an important combination. And then with Danny at the back, guiding everybody else around, and then keeping everybody else connected and linked in, and being able to run at a rhythm so that all their plays are based around a team concept. That's where I think Danny comes into it. Josiah Tavita and also Miracle Lolofi, they at the front row, those two are going to be, they are, I think, a lot more physical of a front row than you would see around the country. And so with those two, I think they have it up front. They have Devin Flanders, and then they have some other key guys like Donovan and Jariah, who are really important. Tane is really important at lock as well. And then in the back line, you still got guys like Trent Happy, who I heard was coming back. Liam and Denny, and also Kini Naholo are all real um, key players for that backline and making sure that everything is run right. There's going to be, I think, a bit of a conflict in terms of who you're going to put out in the backline, because you still got, for your midfield, Liam was there last year. Denon was on the wing. Trent Happy was on the other wing. And then you still got guys like Kini Naholo, as well as the young dude Jordan Thompson-Dunn, who is looking at maybe being the number one player in the country as a year 11. And I personally would probably keep him on the bench for maybe the first half of the season, making sure that he is up to the speed and the pace, up to the physicality, not overdoing his body as a young growing player. And it's not the talent, it's not about the talent, because he has the talent. It's about the development of him physically and being able to play at that level without him being risked every single week of getting hit and banged around and things like that. So for me, I think I would play Liam, Dunny Johns in second five, and then Denon Robinson maybe in centre, and then have Trent and Kini Naholo out on the wings. That's what I'd do anyway, and then have Danny Twala at the back, sort of controlling it and then keeping it all moving and flowing and clogging up the backline and stuff like that. There's some other young fellas. I mean, Gideon Kotai is another one. Damaris Hokianga is another one. Corbin's another guy coming through. Matthew Wilson. All these guys could be first 15 guys on the bench as well. So we could look to those kind of guys to sort of make a show, see if they can get through these trainings and these trials for Hastings boys. And so that's probably like the next wave of players as well. They're all really good under 16 rep players for Hawke's Bay, and so they'll be the ones coming through to take them. But that will be good for these guys to be the second wave of guys coming off the bench and maybe filling in the gaps in the first team when needed this year. This is the first team that I'm doing, and the next one will come tomorrow, and I'm hoping to get out one every single day until we hit 60, as well as some other projects. But for the first ones on your preseason rankings, Hastings boys number 1 ranking. Peace.